Yes. MVP, MMA. Is it something? Is it real? MVP versus UFC. MMA wars? Is this what's happening? Let's get to it.
Let's go!
Caught off guard by everything. The show, everything. What's happening? Where are we? Oh, there we are. Okay, help me out. MVP MMA. It's gaining momentum, guys. Last week we talked about it. They had Ronda Rousey, Gina Carano. They had Francis Ngannou and Felipe Lins. And now, this week we talk about it, and they've added a bunch of fights, including Nate Diaz and Platinum Mike Perry. So, they're doing something. They're definitely making moves, and we're going to talk about it here on the show. The UFC also making some moves, adding some big fights. They announced Khamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland in Newark, New Jersey on May the 9th, UFC 328 for the middleweight title. I think that's a great fight, maybe the best fight the UFC has scheduled in 2026. We could talk about that. Is that the best fight that they've made so far? I think that's a legit number one versus a legit number two. I think that is a very, very solid MMA fight, and I'm down with it. And, I'm down with big fights. I'm down with big names. I'm down with big-time MMA. I don't want to see a bunch of nobodies fighting for nothing. I want to see big-time fights. I want to see big-time players. And Nate Diaz is a big-time player. Is he in his prime as an MMA fighter? Well, of course not. But is he still a guy that people want to see? Is he still a guy that people were calling for to come over to the UFC and fight Conor McGregor? Yes, indeed. Nate Diaz is a needle mover. I remember there was a famous Dana White quote that said, Nate Diaz doesn't move the needle. And then he was proven terribly wrong when Nate Diaz shocked the world and beat Conor McGregor and became a megastar in the world of MMA. But before that, Nate Diaz was making 30-30 and wanting to renegotiate his contract publicly, and Dana White said, well, Nate Diaz doesn't move the needle. Look it up. It happened. And then, things changed. Nate Diaz is a needle mover. Nate Diaz is a big star. And say what you want about this card, he adds to it. And it adds to the interest of this fight card. It's not just a one-fight Ronda-Gina deal. You've got Francis Ngannou, a man who can stake a claim to be the current heavyweight champion in MMA. And you've got Nate Diaz, one of the biggest draws in the sport, still fighting on this card. Like, Nate is still a big draw. Nate is still a big star.
I said that the UFC needed that for the White House fight. There's always action on Ringside.
Yeah.
But was I right? I was saying it from the beginning that the White House card needed Nate versus Conor. And Dave's gone. He's got daddy daycare, man. But was I right, Fred? They needed an action fan fight. And once you put Diaz on a card, people are gonna come and watch. The guy is never gonna be, champion of that sport, but he's the champion of bringing fans to see this sport. And MVP is doing everything right, to actually put pressure on the UFC. This should have been the freak fight for the UFC White House.
Look, Nate Diaz should be in the UFC, but I don't see this as anything to really make the UFC nervous. All these people on the MVP card are one fight away from retirement because they were all retired. So I mean, good, man. They're giving props to MVP, man. They're giving us fights that we want to see, and they're paying guys. Props to them. But if I'm the
Francis
UFC,
wasn't retired.
I mean, when's the last time he fought?
Okay. Sure, but he's not. I mean, he's
How
still.
how old is he?
Yeah, he's late 30s.
Yeah,
He's
but
pretty much retired.
he's up there in retirement.
He made a
but this
shitload
is-
of money in boxing, man. He's retired.
He hasn't been beaten
But-
MMA, though. I mean, he has been, but not, not since he won the UFC Heavyweight Championship.
Like I say, man, thanks, MVP, man. I'm going to watch. I'm going to enjoy it. It's going to be entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not here to say that the UFC is anywhat nervous with this. Like, to the UFC, this is nothing.
It depends on how the dollars fly off of the Netflix thing. And that's the thing. And you got Ronda Rousey talking trash against the UFC, 7 years, $7.7 billion. There's no money being invested in the fighters. Fighters are not making money. And the MVP, here they're coming out and they're paying them, and they're going to be very public in what they're paying. And if I'm not mistaken, even Demetrius Johnson is going to be on that card. I mean, think about it. If this was the White House,
I think that's a bullshit.
I heard Demetrius. I think Demetrius is going to
I
be
think
on
you
there,
got caught
just
by
like
the
they said.
internet.
Listen, we said that about Ngannou. We didn't think that was going to happen with Diaz, and they're on there. I'm telling you, Demetrius Johnson is going to be on there. And
But he
you know what?
speculated anything about
No.
Ngannou
Listen, man.
and Diaz.
Yeah, what
Listen,
are you talking about?
and mark my words, man. Don't be surprised if we don't see a Cain Velasquez on that card too, man.
What?
We saw Cain come out. I'm telling
What?
you, man.
mean,
Listen,
all right,
man.
maybe.
Jake Paul. I've been calling it, and I've been
Cain
calling
and
it right this
JDS
whole
one
time.
more time. Cain and JDS one more time.
You don't
I'd be
think they'd
down
come
for
out
that.
and fight on this card?
Ooh,
Look at the
Cain
amount of money they're
versus
gonna.
Fedor. Give me Cain Fedor now. See what that's like.
Dave, they're listening to our show,
But I
man.
heard
Because
Cain's
I'm telling you,
hips are done. Like he can't. Like Cain's not. I don't know. I don't
listen,
think
they'll
he can
come out for
physically
that
do it.
one fight.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, this is the thing, man. I'd be down for it. I'd be down for all of these fights because I'm interested in the stars of MMA. And even though they're no longer in their prime, I'm down with watching them fight in fights that are competitive for them. Like, I think Mike Perry is a fine opponent for Nate Diaz in MMA. I think that makes sense. Mike Perry's been doing a lot of bare knuckle boxing. He's been doing well there. He was not really the level of MMA fighter that Nate Diaz was, whatever. And I think Nate can beat him, but I also think that Mike Perry's probably been more active than Nate lately, so he's a dangerous guy. It's not a walk in the park for Nate Diaz. It's an interesting fight. I like the fight. I really do like the fight, Nate and Mike Perry. Like, I don't think it's a slam dunk that Nate wins. I think he should win, but it's MMA. You never know. I think Ronda definitely beats Gina Carano. I think Ngannou likely beats Felipe Lins, but I don't know. Like Fred said, Ngannou's been pretty inactive. Who knows? And heavyweight MMA, a lot of times it's a coin toss. You get clipped and then you go down because these guys punch so hard. Knockouts happen pretty quickly. It's an interesting card, and the Demetrius Johnson thing I don't think is happening. Demetrius is streaming and he's retired. I'd be surprised, but I saw Henry Cejudo want him to do the RAF, the freestyle wrestling thing, and he was like, "No, I'm retired. I'm not doing that." So if he's not even willing to do that, I doubt he'd be willing to fight MMA again. But for the right price, you never know. The right money comes along, you never know. And, we'll see what MVP does as far as gate in the arena, as far as, return on this investment for Netflix and the Jake Paul promotions.
My biggest question for MVP is when is the second show? Because,
right,
we're giving them all these, praises, and, yeah, good. You're putting on a cool show that people are going to want to see.
Mm-hmm.
When's going to be the second one?
Well, that's it. And in pro wrestling, we call that a spot show. It's like a one-time deal. You book a bunch of stars, and you see how it goes. and maybe you do it again the next year, but it's just like a one-time deal. It's not a promotion. It's not a MMA promotion necessarily. It seems like a spot show to me. I'm not sure if it's going to be like a long-term thing where they continue to do shows, but I hope that it is. And they haven't really made clear one way or another what they're going to do. So we'll see. I think it depends how successful it is. I think it's like a wait-and-see approach for them. I'm hoping for them to continue, do some fight cards, because the more money they're throwing around, the more money the UFC is going to have to pay people, and the money will elevate in the sport. And it's interesting. Like, it's a fun fight card. It's going to be fun to watch. We're all going to watch it. It's something different, and I just like something different in my MMA. Like, I remember when the UFC wasn't the only game in town, and I feel like they've been the only MMA promotion out there for so long that we need some sort of alternative. We need like a different take on the sport of mixed martial arts, because the UFC does it a certain way. And it's okay, but sometimes they get stuck in their ways and they get a little arrogant in their ways, and I think that they're at that point right now where they need a little push. And I hope that this MVP promotion can give it a little push, because the UFC hasn't had a real opposing push with legitimate stars like this since Strikeforce was around. And when did they buy Strikeforce? 2009? Like, what?
No.
2013.
Oh, I thought it was earlier.
2013. So 13 years ago. And Strikeforce was cool. You know, Strikeforce had some good fighters. Strikeforce had Nate Diaz. Strikeforce had Ronda Rousey. Strikeforce had Cyborg. Strikeforce had women's MMA before the UFC did. And, I mean, let's not forget the Gina Carano Cyborg fight. Was that in Strikeforce or Elite XC? Well, now I'm getting confused. Hold on.
Not sure.
I thought it was Strikeforce. Hold on, I'm going to tell you.
I mean, Strikeforce, if I remember correctly,
it was Strikeforce. It was Strikeforce.
Yeah. And they're the one that signed Dan Henderson a long time ago. You know, they signed him away from the UFC.
Yes.
So,
Dan Henderson, Jake Shields,
yeah.
Fedor. They were willing to co-promote, and they got Fedor in their promotion. They had Josh Barnett. They had a bunch of fighters. Antonio Bigfoot Silva before he went to the UFC. Daniel Cormier had his first MMA fights, winning the Strikeforce Heavyweight Grand Prix in Strikeforce.
Verdum, that's where he beat Fedor. That's in Strikeforce.
Yes. Yeah. Strikeforce, they had Alistair Overeem before he went to the UFC. They had some tremendous fighters, some tremendous fights.
So here's my question, though. Who are the free agents for MVP to create a roster? Because right now they got a bunch of old guys or old ladies that,
right,
like I say, they're going back to retirement pretty soon. So
yeah,
Strikeforce had a legit heavyweight division. They had Gilbert Melendez. They had Jake Shields. They had Dan Henderson. They had some legit fighters that were in their prime still.
Yeah.
So where are these free agents
what Strikeforce had
for somebody to compete?
What Strikeforce had was a visionary MMA mind like Scott Coker running the show, who was San Jose based. Strikeforce was a San Jose based promotion, and they drew a lot of their talent from Northern California, be it Stockton, California with the Diaz brothers, be it San Jose with AKA, and all the great talent that came out of the American Kickboxing Academy that wound up in Strikeforce. You had Josh Thompson, you had Daniel Cormier, you had a bunch of guys that were streaming in from AKA and being groomed in Strikeforce, and they were able to do that. They were able to pick up, young stars and grow them into legit fighters where you went, oh, maybe this guy is as good. Like, maybe this champion here, maybe Gegard Mousasi is as good as Anderson Silva. Like, we'd like to see that fight happen. There was a champion in Strikeforce that you thought of as equal or maybe better than a champion in the UFC, and sometimes they were better. But that has not happened since, like I just said, 2013. And we've been through Bellator, we've been through the PFL, and, you know, it just hasn't hit the same. It hasn't quite been able to get a foothold in the industry. And I think Fred is making a good point as far as, like, how do you do it? How do you bring up the big names? And the UFC's roster is so deep. They have so many stars, and they're bringing in so many fighters to their roster. They got the Dana White Contender Series. They're bringing in people from everywhere that it is really hard for an MMA promotion like MVP to come in and be like, well, this is the new breed. We also have some, they don't have like a Contender Series on the undercard where it's a bunch of up-and-coming MMA fighters to pay attention to, because the UFC, they're swooping up everybody. They're just taking their big fishing net and they're taking everything in the ocean, you know, and there's just very little left on the sidelines for any other promotion to pick up and grow. And that's a fact.
Look, Dave, I got to get in here for a sec, but you guys failed to realize that Strikeforce might have had all that depth and everything, but the bottom line is it was a bad business model that failed, because only a good business model will carry on, which the UFC did. The only difference with Strikeforce, the UFC, and MVP is that MVP is in 2026, where they're getting Netflix visibility, where Strikeforce couldn't even pay for media, couldn't get the marketing that the UFC
went on
did.
CBS.
Yeah, they were the first MMA promotion on network television.
They were, but it wasn't hyped like the UFC. It just wasn't the same. You had so much talent and it couldn't carry through because they couldn't pay the fighters. And that's the difference. MVP is walking in 2026 with Jake Paul, who's done more for like boxing and entertainment in the last 5 years than anyone's ever done. And the thing is that he's a real threat to the UFC. Why? Because he's got Netflix. He has deeper pockets than anyone. And his first thing and what he's bringing out is he's got to have a big bang first fight. And he's doing it right. He's bringing out old stars, some current possible stars with Ngannou, and getting them to fight. He wants views, and he wants people, and he wants hype. You know why? Because we're all talking about it. And that's what all the other organizations couldn't do. Poker couldn't do that, and all the rest. What's going to happen is that they're going to bring the views, and they're going to bring money to the fighters. That's his priority, is to start paying fighters what they're actually worth. And that's his thing. He's going to do it. He's going to pay them well. And he's going to give fighters that are on the roster to be the next big thing another opportunity to think UFC or MVP with Jake Paul. And if Jake Paul is able to pull it off, this guy has already pulled off so much that everybody didn't believe in him, and he did it. They thought he was a joke as a YouTuber, and Jake Paul is still significant, and even more so today than anybody thought so 6 years ago. And, you know, we can laugh and everything, but the truth is, Jake Paul is a winner. Regardless, he's a winner, and he's going to make this MVP win.
The truth is, the UFC has been having a successful business model for how many decades?
100%.
Now? Okay.
Yeah, 20 years. But the thing is that you're right, Fred. But they never had a competitor like MVP with the viewership possibility like a Jake Paul on Netflix. This is Netflix we're talking about. Yeah, worldwide.
But again, like,
the world evolves.
Just to take the Strikeforce model, like you're talking about like real fighters and real fights, right? And guys that are current fighters still in their prime. And I don't think the MVP card is really offering that. I think you can make an argument for Francis Ngannou, but even Francis Ngannou, like, he's been pretty inactive in MMA, and it's hard to tell where he's at. In his late 30s as well, like, I don't know. And then you look at the Strikeforce card, just for example, Chris Cyborg versus Gina Carano, right? One of the most famous Strikeforce cards ever. It was in 2009 in San Jose. It was a big deal. It aired on Showtime. It was a big card. The co-main event was for their light heavyweight title. It was Gegard Mousasi beating Renato Babalu Sobral. Now, at that time, you looked at Gegard and you thought, oh, he's as good as anybody in the UFC. And he is a guy that you could look at as like a current in his prime star. And then they also had Gilbert Melendez defending the Strikeforce lightweight title against Mitsuhiro Ishida. And Gilbert Melendez at the time as well was as good as any lightweight on the planet, if not better. And the MVP card doesn't have that. They don't have anybody outside of Francis Ngannou who you could say, that guy is the best in the world or could be. Nate Diaz is not the best in the world at 170 or 155 pounds. We know this. Okay, not now. Maybe not ever, quite frankly. Well, I mean, he had title fights and he didn't win. Right. I mean, what do you want from me? He lost to Benson Henderson. He lost in the title fights. He didn't win the championship. When he had the shot at being number one in the world, he didn't win. So Nate's a great fighter. I love Nate Diaz, but he was never the number one guy. And, you know, he isn't right now. Ronda was number one at one point, but she's not right now. Gina, I mean, was never. So Francis is really the only one where you could go, well, if he were in the UFC, he could maybe beat Tom Aspinall. He's already beat Cyril Gane. You know, Francis Ngannou versus Alex Pereira. You're telling me you don't think Francis could win that fight? I think he could. So I think Francis Ngannou, like, he is kind of the saving grace of this card where you go, well, he was the UFC heavyweight champion. He never lost it. And now, you know, he's still pretty good, and he still hasn't lost at MMA. So I think, you know, Cyril Gane he beat, and Cyril is still in the mix for the heavyweight title. So I think, you know, you could see Francis Ngannou in the mix as being the heavyweight champion.
Here's another thing I would want to add to the whole Netflix MVP MMA scene. Wasn't Netflix in the runnings to get the UFC TV contract?
I don't know. There were rumors about a lot of things. Who knows?
So I mean, are we supposed to believe that they're going to throw as much money into a product with nobody? Like, this is a one-time affair. Like, until I see something substantial of a real promotion that's going to give me at least an event a month, this is just a one-time affair. And thank you, Netflix, for throwing money to MMA fighters. We appreciate it.
Yeah, but they need that, Fred, because they don't have a roster at this moment to be able to carry it through. The only way you can get that is by doing something extraordinary, even if there's no real contenders. Obviously, they can. They don't have the roster, but if they're able to get big names, big views, they'll be able to get that roster. And this is what I'm trying to say is depends on how big this fight is and how much money it attracts and how much the fighters are going to be able to share their pay. I'm telling you, it's going to change the game. I said that about Jake Paul a long time ago. He's going to change the world of sports, and he's going to change the way of promotions. This guy, you know, he knows, man. He knows.
Look, they might help fighters get more money. You know, if you have another promotion out there to outbid with the UFC for people to outbid for a fighter, that's going to drive the salary up. So that's good. That's very good for MMA fighters. So we'll see from there. But again, the UFC also, they have, like, let's not forget, in their fighter contracts, they have like a matching clause, like where fighters once they hit the free agent for a year, any contract they sign with another promotion, the UFC could match. So anyways, that's how they used to have all their contracts. And I'm pretty sure it's still like that. So again, I don't think the UFC is any nervous with this, but it's cool, man. The MMA was at a better place when UFC had competition. So this is good.
I don't think they have a single person under 35 on this card. It's not good.
So what? Can they sign me?
Yeah. Masters
48.
Yeah. You versus AJ.
The Masters,
enough money
man.
will do it.
AJ's going to have to lose some weight to get into your weight class, though, I think, AJ.
It's okay, man. With the right money, we'll do it.
Wow.
Man, I've been training every day, bro.
Oh, jacked, bro. You look huge.
I am jacked.
You look great.
I am. But Fred is right. But, you know, again, when I'm looking at if I was Jake Paul in his position, which I've done. I've done like jiu-jitsu competitions and that kind of stuff here. I had to bring in celebrity names so people would buy tickets, right? It's all about the marketing. If the guy can pull it off with this, he saw what the problem was with a lot of organizations other than what you've mentioned. You got to have something big, just like the White House card. It's still not big enough for people, but the MVP one is already big. And they're going to put in, I'm telling you, Demetrius or Velasquez or something crazy. You know what I'm saying? A Rory McDonald to come back. A Gagar. Something crazy. And they'll do it, man. They're going to do it because they're going to fill it up with so much names.
But they've already done that.
They're going to make the money.
But this is what I'm saying.
But they've never done it on Netflix, dude.
My critique of this is that I want to see them also maybe highlight some people that I haven't heard of that are good. Like, they should be throwing all the money possible at Gable Steveson.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's the guy that they should have signed. Because you want to see the Olympic gold medalist who is an undefeated MMA prospect who trains with John Jones. That way you get John Jones on your card. You get a way to get John Jones in the arena because he's going to be in Gable's corner. And he, I think, is probably the biggest name free agent that is outside of the UFC. Now, I know he's having discussions with the UFC, but if MVP could swoop in and sign him to a big money deal, that would give me some faith that they are serious about promoting MMA in a long-term fashion. Because right now, you bring in a bunch of old stars, that's a spot show. I've seen this in pro wrestling, like it's all pro wrestling, right? MMA is pro wrestling, whether they want to admit it or not. Everything is pro wrestling. And this, as Johnny, I know as Johnny is watching, Johnny gets this. This MVP thing feels like a spot show. It doesn't feel like they're starting a promotion. It feels like, hey, and wrestling, people do this all the time. They go, hey, let's bring in a bunch of guys from the 80s and 90s that you've heard of. You're going to have Hacksaw Jim Duggan come in. You're going to have, he's going to wrestle some guy that you've heard, you know what I mean? I don't know. Carlito's going to come. You're going to get Chris Masters on this card. You're going to get people that people have vaguely heard of. You're going to put them all on one card. You're going to sell some tickets. And then everybody's going to go home and say, thank you very much. And that's it. You're not bringing in any young stars. You're not showcasing anybody new. You're not trying to build anything for the next show. You're just bringing in a bunch of stars that people like and remember. You're selling tickets. You're saying, thanks, everybody, for coming. Maybe we'll see you again. And that's not a threat to the UFC at all. Because that's not what the UFC does. They do shows every week. They're a real MMA promotion. They have things that follow a schedule. They have fighters and number one contenders and challengers and champions and a real thing. There's no championship belts on the line for MVP. There's no MVP 155-pound championship. It's not real. It's a one-time spot show, which is fun, and I'm down for. But the UFC shouldn't be threatened. It's not a threat to the UFC or their business because it's a different style business altogether. It's like a one-time, hey, let's have fun, let's do this show. If they do it again, if they do it consistently, then the UFC might have to worry. But right now, I mean, there's so much money behind the UFC. They're a juggernaut that just keeps on moving.
Absolutely, and you're right. You're right, but
they should be as worried about MVP. No, I mean less worried. Honestly, they should be less worried about MVP than WWE is about AEW. Like, WWE is barely worried about AEW, and AEW is like a real promotion. Like, they do real shows. They're actually They put on better shows than WWE for the most part. But they're not really worried because the WWE is such a big money-making operation that they're just going to go on and do whatever no matter what. They're not worried about AEW or some other promotion. Like it's almost like they're in a different business. So the UFC is really not worried about this MVP thing.
But the thing is that, you got to look at how long this, the UFC has been in existence since 1993, and it got really bought over in 2000. It's 26 years old, bud, in reality, as a real entity, and that's the problem. What I'm saying is that you're right. They shouldn't feel afraid or intimidated, but they're going to have to change the game. And the MVP might change the game for the UFC, which means paying better salaries, better benefits, better conditions, because that Jake Paul, that's his angle. And he's saying it very publicly. So is Ronda Rousey and everybody else. And what I'm saying is that being the first fight, of course, he's got to throw something that's like really a wow thing. But they're not a legitimate threat right now. But we'll see on the second round. If they do have a MVP, number 2, UFC MVP number 2 with some legitimate fighters, then it could be a different story. But let's see how they do in their first one. And I think they're going to do very well. Jake Paul is a master of marketing. He is.
Do well.
And listen, and don't be surprised. I don't know how long Dana White has with the UFC. He doesn't have as much pull as he used to. Wouldn't it be freaky if a Dana White decides to move over to MVP? Could it happen?
No.
Absolutely.
What?
Why not?
All right, she wants to say goodnight.
Why
Hold
not?
on. Get in here.
Hey, cutie, how are you? I love you.
Dana White, bro.
You don't want to say
I
goodnight?
love you.
All right, don't say goodnight then.
Ah.
Oh.
Doesn't Dana White still have like shares in the UFC?
He does.
All right, say goodnight.
She's
Joe.
so cute. How did you produce that, Dave?
Stinkies.
Okay.
I love you. I love you.
Okay. Yeah, Dana White's
That's
not going to MVP.
that's
AJ.
how our
I don't know
show
where you get
sounds.
these things. Demetrius Johnson.
Listen, man,
Dana White
anything's
going MVP.
possible.
It's absurd. It's
Listen,
absurd
man,
talk that you
CEOs
bring
get-
to us.
I know.
What is he
dude,
doing,
but you
Fred?
know what?
Where does he get this stuff from?
Listen, man, you guys said the same thing about me with Jake Paul, and look what we're talking. 2026, we're still talking about Jake Paul. So AJ is generally right on some really crazy shit.
I guess you're generally
Oh, I
right.
shouldn't be talking like that with a little one.
It's okay. Her headphones are off.
Thank God. She's so cute. She's a little
Wild
ginger.
animals. Huh?
Johnny, she looks like Zevi
Yeah, well,
with the same.
they are siblings.
They do come from like the Dave Simon.
Wow.
DNA. Typically.
Wow. The chat is
Daniel.
on fire. I love that a guy. Oh, man. Something just popped me in the chat. That's great. Johnny North goes, last AEW pay-per-view, probably better than any WWE PLE this year. And then this guy, Meat Rocket 69 goes, Johnny North, you must be a casual. Is he accusing Johnny North of being a casual wrestling fan? Because that is
He's
the
not.
most absurd thing you
That's
could
funny.
possibly say. Johnny North not only is like one of the most hardcore wrestling fans I know, he's actually also a great wrestler himself. He's like
British
a pro
Commonwealth
wrestler who's
heavy
very
champion.
good. Like, it's so funny to be calling Johnny North a casual, like,
Listen,
of wrestling
British
is nuts.
Commonwealth heavyweight champion of the world,
Yeah,
Johnny
it's so funny.
Genesis North, who has
Yeah, John.
dolls made out of him, T-shirts. The guy, my kid, his biggest fan is Johnny North. He talks about Johnny North every day. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, Johnny. I walk the streets and people know Johnny. Like,
Yeah,
all
my kid
over,
wears
man.
Johnny's T-shirt to school. I mean, Johnny's like
celebrity.
a wrestler.
Yeah, so he's not a casual. Like, you don't know Johnny North, but you could do a research
That's
on
so
Johnny
funny.
North. He's a really Johnny's one of
Johnny,
the
you
best
don't know
wrestlers around.
I agree with Meat Rocket, Johnny. You don't know shit about pro wrestling.
I like
such a
Meathead. He's
mark.
funny.
You're such a mark, John. What do you know? That's great. Casual. Whew. All right. Well, the
He's a
MVP
heel
thing
too,
is
man.
good. I'm glad that they're doing it. I don't know what it means for the grand landscape of MMA. Probably nothing, honestly. But it's fun while it's happening. It's in May. Couple months. It'll be good. Baseball season starts next week, guys. Major League Baseball.
Baseball.
Yeah.
Man, Italy almost took it, dude. We were so
I
close to
know.
being the greatest baseball country in the world.
Shocking.
Man.
Did Italy go further in the World Baseball Classic than the World Cup of soccer?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
crazy.
in the last
Doesn't make a lot of sense.
In the last 8 years,
Yeah.
yes.
You just take a lot of American guys who are like vaguely Italian and you stick them on a team, say Italia, and there you go. Bada bing, bada boom. You got yourself a pretty good baseball team. It's kind of amazing how far they went. They beat the U.S. in the group stages. They won the group. They won the group. They were in a group with the U.S. and Italy actually won. And then they went to, the semifinals and lost to Venezuela?
Yeah, and it was close. They were ahead.
Yeah, it was close.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't mess around with Italy and baseball, dude.
I was very surprised how well they did.
Nothing like...
I'm a fan. They got the espressos in the dugout. Fantastic.
Listen, we don't do chewing tobacco. We're doing chewing prosciutto.
It was nice. Yeah, right.
No Slim Jim with those guys, man.
A little gabagool
It's
in the
mortadella.
dugout, friends. Yeah,
a little mortadella and olive oil, bro.
Yeah.
A little, Prosecco, a little wine before you get to the second inning.
Yeah.
The 7th inning stretch is out of control in Italy now.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, Johnny's upset, dude. Johnny's mad.
Just one thing. Look.
Yeah,
One thing.
Yeah. Very good. Just one thing.
Listen, Johnny's mad. He's getting mad. He's calling out the shots here.
Yeah. Johnny doesn't take.
He's not a casual. He does 5 hours of pay-per-view, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a casual.
Johnny's got some angle going. He won't tell me what it is. He's like working me. I may blow your whole work right now, John, but I'm not gonna because I'm nice. But I don't understand what the deal is for tomorrow. I'm confused. Stop working me. Work yourself into a shoot. By God. Johnny North bringing up Kimbo Slice.
Kimbo,
Strikeforce
who
legend.
could forget?
Bellator
Rest
legend.
in peace. Like, Kimbo would have
You
been
know?
perfect in MVP, man.
Yeah, that's it. He would have been like a good MVP guy. He would have been really right at home in the MVP. I'm waiting for Fedor. To show up. I don't understand why they haven't signed Fedor and Brock Lesnar to do a fight, or Fedor and Cain Velasquez or something. Give me Fedor. I want more Fedor. I would watch Fedor fight until he's 80 years old. I don't give a shit. How old's Fedor now?
42?
What? He was 42
How
in
old is he?
1998, man. What are you talking about?
TRT keeps you young, bud.
He's 49.
Is he?
His
No.
last fight was a loss to Ryan Bader in 2023.
He's 49?
Yeah.
He can still do it, man. He can
Yeah.
still do it.
Give me Fedor. How old's Brock?
40-something, for sure. I'm going to say 42 again.
Brock is 48. Perfect.
What? Damn, they're getting old.
Perfect. Give me Brock Fedor now.
I could see it happening.
Could that be the next MVP card? I would
No,
love
that
it.
could be the first MVP card,
Isn't,
man. They
like,
can do it.
WWE, they're owned by the same people in the UFC, so why
Yeah.
would they let Brock go compete on something else?
They wouldn't. They wouldn't.
So let's stop the pipe dream.
I'm just saying, it'd be cool, Fred. Don't you think it'd be cool? How about Brock and how about Fedor and Cain?
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Who's the best heavyweight of all time? A lot of people say Fedor. A lot of people say Cain. Settle it.
True.
No?
Good point. Yeah, that's a good point, man.
Guys, I just came up with an awesome fight. Fedor versus
Yep.
Cain. Give it
Free
to me
Kane,
now.
man. He's out. He's out now. He's going to need the money for all, the legal bills and all that kind of stuff. Why not?
Apparently, Anderson Silva was contacted, but he's doing like police training, so he can't do it. He's training to become a police officer.
Jesus, I mean, that freaking what's that crazy guy's name again? Steven
Can we let
Seagal
some of
rubbed
these
off on
guys
him.
into their retirement? Let's let some of these guys enjoy their retirement.
But they want to keep fighting, Fred. Aren't you a guy
Yeah,
who
they
always
want
says
to.
like, let them keep fighting if they want to keep fighting?
Yeah, sure.
That is what you say.
It's true. Yeah,
Fred is
it's
always
true.
the
He's
guy
got
who
you,
goes,
Fred.
if they want to do it, let them keep doing it.
I mean, if we're really going to respect these guys, we should have the card like at 3 p.m. in the afternoon because, you know, like at 11 p.m.
get
and all
tired,
of these guys are past their bedtime, man.
I agree. I mean, we're all in that age group. We're like in their age group, you know.
So we can
How old's
vouch
Nate
it.
Diaz? I think Nate's like my age. How old's Nate?
I want to say Nick. Yeah,
Yeah,
Nick
Nate's
and
my
Nate
age.
in their 30s.
Nate's
Where are
like a
they?
few years. Nate's like a few months older than me.
Nate's got a bunch of kids, man. He goes to bed early, man.
Yeah, exactly. I think me and Nate live similar lifestyles probably at this point. And, you know, fucking go to jiu-jitsu, hang out with my kids, smoke some weed. I'm like, yeah, I can relate.
Listen
Yeah,
to
totally.
music.
The only thing he's not doing is like watching baseball, but like I think otherwise we're living the
You
same
never know,
life.
dude. You never
Watching
know,
some fucking
man.
Yankees baseball, you know what I mean? Fucking
He's
Aaron
probably
Judge
an
hit a
Oakland
home
A's
run.
fan.
Fucking sick, man. He's a what? He's a Blue Jays fan?
Oakland A's. Isn't that close to
Oh,
Stockton?
man.
Fucking A's left Oakland, man. They're in Sacramento now. Fucking bullshit. They're leaving. Going to Vegas. Fucking Vegas, man. I don't even know. The A's, like, they still play in that, like, minor league stadium in Sacramento. They played in a minor league park last year, and they're still there this year because they don't have a home. The A's left Oakland, and now they're homeless. It's pretty pathetic. You know where they should come?
Montreal.
Les Athletiques de Montréal.
That's right. Give it to me, baby. Give me the A's. I'll take them. I'll take any team that exists. I really don't give a shit.
I'd even keep their name, man. Les Athletiques. Sounds great in French.
It does sound good. But wouldn't you rather them called the Expos?
Yeah.
Let's move on, man.
No,
wanna move
we
on? You don't
can't,
want-
Freddie. No, you can't do that, man.
Fred
We need
wants to
the
move on.
Expos, man.
I feel like if we had a baseball team, they'd have to be called the Expos. It'd be weird if
They
it
have
was
to
like
be, dude.
We
the
would probably have to
Athletics.
pay the Washington team because they probably still own the rights to the Expo name.
oh, those bastards. They have to give it back. They must
They
give
have
it
to,
back.
man. They got to, man.
Doesn't belong to them. Those bastards.
Freaking guys, man.
All right. UFC is doing something this weekend.
They should have never sold, man. Brofman should have kept it, man.
Oh, I thought the UFC should have never sold. I was like, what are we talking about? The UFC should
No,
have
the
never
UFC.
sold.
Well, the UFC was the best thing to be sold. They bought it for $2 million. We could have scraped up some dollars to buy that.
No, I mean
It
the
was $2
second
million.
sale. Not the first sale was
Oh.
good. The first sale
Yeah.
to Dana and the Fertittas.
$2 million. $2 million.
Great deal. When the Fertittas sold the UFC,
Oh, excellent deal.
yeah, but not for the fans.
No, but they made how many billions? 2 billion?
People
Right.
do not understand. People today do not understand how important Lorenzo Fertitta was to MMA.
And Donald Trump.
He didn't own the
Sorry, dude,
UFC. Lorenzo Fertitta and his brother Frank Fertitta, but Lorenzo was really like hands-on in the business and like he made shit happen. He made fights happen. When they owned the UFC, they listened to the fans. It really felt like they were paying attention. But this WME TKO thing, it's just so corporate and they're all about the bottom line. And they're not making the big fights. And it's just not, the business is not run the same as it was when the Fertittas ran it. Don't you miss the Fertitta days, Fred?
Big time.
Don't you
man.
notice a difference?
Yeah, probably. I don't know, man. Yeah.
All right, what do you think about Sean Strickland and Khamzat Chimaev? That's a big fight. Let's go.
Great fight. Thank you,
Good job,
UFC. Man.
UFC.
That's a great fight.
Yeah. Is that the biggest fight that they've announced this year?
Probably.
I'd say so. I'd say it's the best one so far.
I think they got scared of putting it on the White House card where like that they're like, yeah, we don't want the circus to be on the White House card.
Jeez. Khamzat is a circus. Strickland is a circus. You put them together, it's just chaos. The press conferences are going to be nuts.
They're going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be good. And the fight is going to be good. Strickland looked really good in his last fight. Really good. I'll be interested to see how he defends the takedown.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
I've heard a lot of people say that he's gonna be able to defend Khamzat's takedowns. People think he's got the wrestling to do it.
You think so?
I don't know if anybody does. I don't know
about that, man.
And that's why this fight is so good. I'm interested. I think Strickland's got a good shot. If he keeps the fight standing,
yeah,
he's got
he
a
keeps
shot.
it standing. But let's not forget, it's Khamzat, man.
Who knows if he can? Who knows? I don't know. But Khamzat, kind of did what he wanted to Dricus. It's pretty damn impressive.
I'm looking at Strickland's record. I don't see a lot of wrestlers at the level of Khamzat on his record. So
no,
it's gonna be another challenge. I'm not saying maybe Strickland is the guy to stuff those takedowns. He likes to stay in front of his opponent and trade. So maybe it works, man. But I don't know. Right now, I would have to lean towards Khamzat.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's tough not to lean towards Khamzat right now, but I'm not convinced that Khamzat wins 100%. So I'm into it. I think this is a good fight. I think Strickland is the number one contender at middleweight. There's other guys out there, but I think it's Strickland right now. Evloev is out there too, but I think Strickland is a better option. And he's beat Evloev. Strickland's a former champion in his prime, looked great in his last fight in a main event where he was the underdog against Hernandez. Beat him, stopped him, looked in incredible shape. It's a really good fight. When is that again? It's in May? End of May? May 9th. Oh, beginning of May. Oh, that's soon. UFC 328. Okay. They announced a few fights, right? Didn't Dana put out a bunch of fights last week or something? What is happening right now? Are there fights happening right now? No.
Wrestling fights.
Amateur wrestling, right? College wrestling?
NCAA championships.
NCAA World Championships.
I'm looking at a guy crying right now. I'm not sure what happened. I think the ref disqualified him or something.
No fooling around, man. In those singlets.
Okay, big fight tomorrow night in London. I guess tomorrow afternoon at the O2. Movsar Evloev, Leron Murphy. Winner gets a title shot at 145 pounds.
Is that official or?
I mean, if it's not, the UFC has gone crazy. I'm pretty sure it's official. Volkanovski.
I got Movsar, man.
He's got the winner.
Movsar should win this fight.
Laurent's on home turf, though.
17 wins, man. No losses. Movsar, 19 wins, no losses. It's going to be a good fight.
Yeah, these guys are undefeated, right? Laurent, 17 wins, 0 losses, coming off a knockout over Aaron Pico. Movsar, 19 wins, no losses, coming off a decision win over Aljamain Sterling. God damn. These guys are the real deal. You would think one of these guys would have got a title shot at this point, but not yet. But it's coming. What are the odds on this fight? Movsar is the favorite, minus 240. Murphy, plus 180, the dog. Interesting. Fred, you got Movsar?
Of course.
Of course, Movsar. I think Murphy's going to catch him. 5-round fight in London. Crowd's going to be rocking for Murphy. I think he gets a win. I think the crowd helps him. I think it's going to be electric. I think Murphy gets a big win.
Yeah. Murphy's a better striker. He has a little bit more advantage in height, a 1-inch reach. I mean, if it's a stand-up game, I think Murphy obviously is a great striker and a much better striker than Movsar. But if it gets to the ground, that's where the problems can be. Mind you, I think Murphy has a 51% takedown defense. So it's good, but it's not great. So if he's able to keep it standing, he's going to punish him. He knocked out Pico in the first round. The guy he's a beast. And Movsar is no joke, but he doesn't have the striking skill of Leron Murphy. So I'm going with Murphy on this as well. It's going to be an interesting fight.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one, man. This is a good fight.
Saturday afternoon. Very good fight.
Yep.
The rest of the card is okay.
Well, Michael Page is there. It's nice to see Michael Page fighting again.
Yeah, that's about it, eh? Everything else is like a bunch of guys you've never heard of in your life.
Well, there's Christian Duncan that's there. There's Roman Dolise. I mean, it's not bad. It's not a bad card. It's going to be a good card to watch. Having a drink at the pub in the afternoon is great, man.
I don't know. I don't know many guys on this card. A bunch of guys, you've never really heard of. Who is Shamrock?
Shamrock. We had
the
him
guy's
on March
name
17th.
is Shamrock. He is 12-1. He lost his UFC debut. Like a lot of these guys, kind of local scene guys.
Yeah, those are on the prelims. Yeah, 12-2.
Or even on the main card, like Iwo Baraniewski. Who's Iwo Baraniewski? 7-0. He was a Dana White Contender Series guy. He won his UFC debut. This is his second fight in the UFC. Second fight in the UFC, he's on the main card. This is his 8th pro fight. He's on the main card. Iwo Baraniewski. Like, that's the main card, EJ. The guy who's making his second fight in the UFC. I don't know what that's about. Taking on Austin Lane, who I've vaguely heard of. He's lost a lot of fights. He's here to lose to Iwo. Austin Lane has lost 4 of his last 5.
He's young.
He's an American going over to Europe to lose. What kind of underdog is he? Probably huge. Yeah, plus 400. No shit. Iwo Baraniewski is definitely going to win. That's on the main card. So don't tell me it's all prelims. This card is not great. But the main fight, the main event, very good. Michael Venom Page is always fun, too. He's on the main card taking on Sam Patterson. Patterson, a dangerous striker. It's a good fight. Patterson and MVP. I think MVP wins, but, Patterson's no joke. He can hit hard. Yeah. He's got some good knockouts.
But so can
on his
Michael,
record.
man. A lot of experience. It's not like I think MVP will take this as well.
Mm-hmm. Michael as well.
I think this is going to be a strike fest.
Michael as well is fighting. You see that? His last name
Michael
is as well. Michael as well.
As he should be, man. Against the Lukey Riley.
There's Michael Venom Page and Michael as well.
Michael as well, bud.
Yeah, he's an underdog, plus 160 to Luke Riley. That's the co-main event.
Different shades of gray.
Michael Aswell and Luke Riley are the co-main event.
Lucky
Who
Luke.
are Michael Aswell and Luke Riley? I have no fucking idea. Luke Riley,
as you
this is
should.
his second fight in the UFC. He's 11-0. I mean, he could be a prospect, but this is his second fight in the UFC. Taking on Michael Aswell, who's making this is his third fight in the UFC. And he's 1-1 so far. It's not like he's been tearing up the scene. 1-1 in the UFC. This is his third fight in the UFC. And for some reason, this is the co-main event. If I was in London, I'd be so pissed. I'd be like, this is what the UFC's bringing me? Michael Aswell in the co-main event? Garbage. I'm not doing a parlay for this. No parlays for this. Just pick the main event. I've got Laron. Freddie's got Movsar. AJ's got Laron, right?
Laron to you, bud.
Laron plus 180 the dog. Movsar plus 240 the favorite. So majority of the show going with Laron, but I think this could go either way. Hell of a fight for the UFC this Saturday. But the rest of the card totally sucks.
I mean,
Don't
if you're
try
going
to tell me it's good,
like
AJ. Don't try to tell me. It's bullshit.
Look, it might be exciting, but like, you know, I think I would
Fred,
have went
look
with
how
a
many
few
of these
more.
guys don't have Wikipedia pages. Look how many. All of them, basically.
I mean, the co-main event.
The full co-main event doesn't have a Wikipedia page. Luke Riley and Michael Aswell. These guys have 3 UFC fights combined, and they're in the co-main event of a show at the O2 in London. What the fuck are they doing? What the fuck is that? They got 3 UFC fights. Michael Aswell is in the co-main event. Who the fuck is Michael Aswell? What a dumb fucking card.
Hopefully he's well.
At least I've heard of Francis Ngannou. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, say what you want about MVP, but when they do a card, it's like, well, I've heard of these people at least. Michael Aswell and Luke Riley are the co-main event? 3 UFC fights combined between these two guys. And I'm supposed to be like, oh, this is good. No. Tell me when Movsar and Murphy are fighting, and then I'll tune in. The rest of this shit, I'll watch the highlights on Twitter if there are highlights. Otherwise, skip. I'll watch fucking preseason baseball in the afternoon instead. Fucking tune into Movsar and Murphy when it's on. Skip. Bullshit. Fucking UFC. Trying to serve me some bullshit. All right. I'll be back tomorrow.
Could have been worse. Could have been Data 5000.
Data 5000 at least put on a show.
And he entertained the crowd.
I love him.
Would have been great on MVP, man. Kimbo Slice, Data 5000, part 2. The cardiac.
Maybe we can get Kimbo's son to fight Dada's son or something. Is that possible?
That'd be cool. Yeah, why not, man? That's a good idea, Dave.
All right. I'll be back tomorrow night, 10 o'clock, to talk pro wrestling with somebody, I think.
With the casual Johnny North.
Maybe Johnny. Yeah, he's such a casual. I don't know if I'll allow him back on the show. He's banned because he's a casual. All right. Thank you to everybody for supporting the Ringside Report Network. Jason Pete, Antoinette. Mr. Beerzerker, a member of the team.
I like that. Berserker. Beerzerker.
I haven't seen that name before. Thank you for supporting over at join.ringsidereport.net, Mr. Beerzerker.
Beerzerker, I like that, man. God bless you.
Jason Pete, Antoinette, of course. Thank you, everybody, for supporting over at join.ringsidereport.net, membership.ringsidereport.net, and go to our website, ringsidereport.net. So much great content over there. We'll see you again real soon here on the Ringside Report Network.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word. Please share this episode on whichever social media platform you use. Add a comment below and consider reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website